Here I am in private living, the room beside my bedroom. We will have the continuity about the history that we had in the very first part of the day, considering that the global events with failures inside connecting different sides, in the end, when you integrate these, you had the combination of all sides by failure, and it's a pandemic event. For sure, name it pandemic crime. Going by failures on system, protected by corruption, with continued as extended longer manus by nepotism to have designation and chairs, and the hierarchical distribution of this to use criminal empowerment by wrongdoings at the institutions, and the institutional crime only goes on institutions. And those institutions, if charged and pushed to offer them, do not having this legal accomplishment as a constitutional duty, you have a criminal organization, you have the right to declare this. Is it confirmed? Your accusation. Corruption, criminal association by all type of gangs, even nepotism, transnational organized crime. Go even as pandemic even. White collar crime, tax evasion, even and considering the diverted money from your treasury as privilege for peers on contracts under overpayment or tax stimulus, but stimulation of what? Financial evasion. After the peer received the money from public budget by overpriced contract, you have the financial evasion, storage on bank. And then you consider new ways to have this, like cryptocurrency. Is it confirmed that you are surrounded criminal offender? You will be sent to jail, you know that. It doesn't matter who you are. And you can support and help yourself with criminal scams in Brazil by public corruption if this goes at the U.S. federal justice or by U.S. judicial power. All these go on quadrants with buildings and special types of chairs at these buildings, which has in general authority and power, but responsibility by the use of this. Misusage, responsibility of chairs. New tracer by workflows on it, by the misusage we will get this. When you had, for instance, an abusive procedure during an investigation, and this investigation is empty, smooth, and you try to obtain industrial secret, core business of activity or development, or the data as asset or element to have a login at your social media account, email, or bank by digital bank, using the deep web scams, which you have your world access to the network, 1 up to 197 nations plus 198 immigrants, 199 transnational organized crime, 200. The observation of all these by, interest in have the legal accomplishment and put offenders on jail. In Brazil is the number 55, considering the index that qualify Brazil is 55, and you have 27 states and more than 5,000 seats. We will check that when we have, for instance, the misusage of a procedure as abusive procedure, which is a crime on the law 13,829, I think, especially on Article 20 up on. You will have fake data and fake records on public department as subsidiary records on a micro perception of things. And it's a crime on 313A of our criminal law, even by silence of your chief, that must know what goes inside the department 13, and the entire department is at the problem. And the hierarchical distribution of power to oversight this, but you all integrated as failure now at the Blind Association about abusive procedures to keep illicit advantages obtained and prevent the control about the illicit workflow that had been going on. And you have your world access to the internet as big data. I would say the local access, you have a modem. And when you cut the modem will have a router that sets the routerization of access and doors to get connected at the digital space. And I cut the modem, I cut the router, I only have a mobile. So I will kind of make constriction at your possibilities to commit frauds and things. And if I only have the access by mobile, you will try to do your scam by the mobile. But why are you fighting so hard to keep this? Because when you have this as an interference in anyone's house, indeed, it's something that violates the privacy because the consumer relation, and then we have switched the presentation of proofs, and we are saying everything, and you must say that everything told by this committee is a lie. That you don't have frauds on your public budget, no blind association, no abusive procedures against the research or things. And when you have the interference setting levels by one specific machine that sometimes can replace your modem, but I'm using only the mobile, you try to replace the mobile. But the mobile has, the login and a Google account on it. And only by this, if I'm using Android assistant. And then you will try to obtain my access code as Google account to have my account cloned. And then you have a line as mobile cloned using my Google account. And when you have the storage of abuses, indeed you have the continuity of things cloning your personal computer and having the storage of the information and procedure when you had the modem but not having the modem anymore, adapting this to the mobile. But as we said, the mobile is a limited thing that only can allow my access, and then you can clone the signal and spread in the way you are accustomed to do with the mobile, except if you had the interference at the network as a structure, because it was observed this risk in the same way at the provider of cable TV and internet. And the Spain is the company that has providing my mobile communication. And then maybe they have the right to research this, especially considering the consumer relation that we have. And why are you fighting so hard to keep this? Because when you clone my mobile, and this is something that goes in two phases, indeed you will obtain my access code, will do the login, but sometimes using a different system like Linux or something else, or a different type of mobile, because when you had the login, the machine will identify your instrument as personal computer, desktop, notebook, or mobile as cell phone. And we have oscillation at this. And you are fighting so hard because when you clone someone mobiles and the activity inside the internet, indeed you are setting a misperception about the personality of this person or company. This research very close to sabotage. And in the same way, when you had, for instance, the water of Coca-Cola cloned and have a lot of death events, to request the compensation at your judicial system that is corrupted, full of criminals, offering decisions by payment, supported by proofs invented, which has a kickoff as illegal procedures at the police department, all at the security, and all this inside the security forum, you kind of must face the reality about yourself. You are a criminal organization. Integrated interaction as it in between yourselves with others associated with you by instruments that allow this kind of transference. And the privilege, for instance, when you obtain the advantage by the compensation against the Coca-Cola or setting the misperception about one specific anti-crime research on Law 12,850 Article 1, 2, and 3 is told as organized crime and transnational. Here is your tax division. You have your tax law, which is a law created by your institutions. The Congress, with the stamp approved by the President, and according with the limits that must be observed in our Constitution, despite all activism against this Constitution. You will check that the time since 1988 up to 2022 could expose that the taxation is not enough. Your first concern is take the money for your criminal purpose. Then you consider have the public politics by peers associated with you, by P2P scam with illicit storage of gains obtained in all ways. And then you have no enough money, some critical problems by continue, like the Guanabara Bay, the Amazon rainforest, and others. To claim the interest as investment, saying always a humanitarian speech, an environment crap, thing or something like this, but you are a criminal. You are a criminal, Mr. Authority. Doing all this and keeping all this by your silence, you are a criminal. Then we will check this, that the logical distribution of power since the creation as tax, and the tax going in abusive way, more than 50% of your entire gains as legal gains during the year, is to support the first thing, the purpose and main premise at the organization of institutional power and state activity. You will not declare this by Article 174, even when we push you by this compensation against your institution that must set this debt on your public budget and indicate how you will pay this. Allowed us to have in this research since 1988 up to present time, projecting the control and security by the review of workflow made from this public budget in Brazil. And we will observe that these three types of I would say pathways using your financial resource will be crossed by the Venn diagram, the corruption in the middle, considering the A, your interest and first concern, that is take advantage and have the money stored by illicit criminal groups associated with public corruption in Brazil. The misusage, having the overpriced contract to satisfy the to satisfy by public politics using overpayment contracts with peers and privilege, and the interest as investment that will put money here to obtain advantage of all this. And all these will be inside one area, kind of, that is limited, you know. Any question?